Yes, people, good evening, good evening. Welcome along to Aston Villa from the stands. I hope you're well. Make sure you smash the like button on this video right now if you're watching live or on replay. Subscribe to the channel if you're new and get involved in the comments because this is a massive stream. This is a massive, massive stream because what we're going to talk about today is absolutely massive. Unai Emery revenge tour is happening. He is going to go to Paris and seek revenge, not only on just PSG, but there's an incredible story behind him and Luis Enrique, which we're going to get into. Second of all, we're going to be looking at the big news that Villa must sell to comply with PSR. Yeah, that stupid phrase, that stupid saying that we have to deal with all the time, PSR. Well, it's being confirmed that no matter what, even if we get European football, even if we get Champions League, Aston Villa still need to sell. Those are the two stories that we're going to get into today. So big up to everyone. Hope you're well. It is, of course, the evening before we play PSG. In 24 hours' time, we'll be knowing the Aston Villa lineup will be gearing up for that massive quarter-final game. And I did a video earlier, and if you haven't seen it, check it out after the stream. I've called out the Parisians. I've called out the PSG fans. I've called out people who are doubting Aston Villa because it's time to start putting belief on what we can do. And the whole encompass of this video today is actually to talk about why. Because Unai Emery, the story just gets better and better. I've been really diving in deep to Unai Emery and why his battle with Luis Enrique is fascinating. So if you didn't know anything about Luis Enrique, the PSG manager, well, him and Unai Emery, they've got history, and this is going to be a sure interesting one. So, but yeah, hope everyone is good. Hope everyone is well. Make sure you're running up those likes on the stream as well. Big up to my mum and dad in the chat. Big up to Martin Roberts as well. He's trying to buy a membership, but it ain't happening. Of course, I'll try and copy and paste the link in for anyone who does want a membership. And big up to you, Martin, and of course, enjoy your dinner. But let's get straight into the first story before we go into Unai Emery. I've got to share this because, again, this is a bit of a. Let's start on a bad note before we start talking on the good note, shall we? Because this has come through again about Villa transfers and PSR, and it's a pretty annoying one, really. Look, here it is. Here it is. Regardless of whether Aston Villa secure Champions League football for another campaign, staying in line with PSR, which dictates teams cannot incur losses of over 105 million over a 3-year period, requires players to be sold. So, reading that and that alone, as I've been saying, and people kept saying, but Josh, what happens if we do this? What happens if we win the FA Cup? What happens if we win a trophy? What happens? Will we have to sell? Look, it's hard to know exactly the fluctuation. It could be 30 million. It could be a bit more. Now, if it is along those regions of 30 million, what we need to cover, then we start talking about the likes of your Buendias, your Dendonkers, your Coutinhos, who are still on our books, who are able to offload and to be able to fall in line with PSR. However, if it is a larger figure, then that's when we talk about these big names, these big players. So let me just reiterate that again. And big up to everyone in the chat. Good to see old Spicy Price in it, as usual. Big up to the Vamos VJ as well. And big up to those of you who are watching. Do feel free to get involved in the comments. But look, as I said, doesn't matter if we get Champions League football, we're going to have to sell. But that makes me wonder then. That makes me wonder the big question. I'm sure you guys are thinking what I'm going to say next. What happens if we don't get Champions League football? How detrimental is that going to be for Aston Villa if we do not get Champions League football? We're already going to have to sell if we qualify for it. And I think Newcastle United are in the exact same boat as us as well. I saw a story from a Newcastle YouTuber who basically felt the same. If we do not get Champions League football, we could be in for a really horrible summer of selling our best players. And that is essentially, the sort of doom and gloom news that I want to start on really is that, Villa fans, if you thought winning a trophy or qualifying for Europe will help us and that we won't need to sell, unfortunately, it's all a fairy tale. We are going to have to sell regardless, and it is going to be dependent, I guess, on the price range. But my hope and optimism is that we absolutely can and should be able to offload players like, as I said, your Dendonkers, your Buendias, maybe even your Bogards now who've just signed a new deal. Could they round us up to that figure that complies with PSR? instead of having to do one big player or two big players like we did in the summer and losing them. So, yeah, that's the first one that I want to talk about. And then, of course, with that in mind and the talk of all this, which has been really hard to stomach, Jacob Tanswell also goes on to say this. Have a look at this one. Jacob Tanswell goes on to say, there are several players with suitors. Aston Villa have informed Boubacar Kamara they wish to extend his contract, but he is on other team shortlists, as well as Jacob Ramsey, Morgan Rogers, Leon Bailey, and Ollie Watkins. So, look, we've been consistent in this story about Jacob Ramsey and Morgan Rogers, and we're going to have to keep talking that uncomfortable conversation. We did a stream yesterday about Ollie Watkins and the fact that Arsenal seems to be off the table for him, but it does seem that it will come to no surprise now for Villa fans of who and when we have to sell will be very obvious. It'll be very obvious. I think it's those 4 players there. Those 4 players listed for me are the ones that 100% will have to be the ones to offload. So, it's not going to be a surprise anymore. It's just a matter of who, and probably not if, but when, if I'm honest. I don't think it's a matter of if anymore. I think it's a matter of when. Is it going to be 2 of them? Is it going to be a Bailey and Watkins? Is it going to just be one of them? I don't think Morgan Rogers goes, as I said that, but Jacob Ramsey, Leon Bailey, and Ollie Watkins are going to have to go to comply with PSR. So that was the breaking news today. Basically, really disheartening news, really poor timing. But you know what? It's really frustrating that still we're crippled by PSR. And as Spicy said, why can't we just bribe? Why can't we just bribe the Premier League and get rid of this PSR nonsense? So, yeah, no matter if we qualify for the Champions League and no matter if we win a trophy next season, it does not matter because we've been told that we must sell to comply with the PSR. So that's a piece of news to sink in today. But yeah, as I said, it won't be popular, but obviously Ollie Watkins probably going to be the one that has to go. Villa James says it will be Cash Bailey. I think Rogers and Ramsey both stay. I think you're right on that one as well. I think, though, I still see a world where Jacob Ramsey does eventually leave and disappear from us, and that'll be pretty sad. But yeah, I think that news is there. So that's the downpipe. That's the annoying news. Now let's build up to PSG because that's what I'm excited for. That's what we're building up for, and that is an occasion that I cannot wait for. PSG, the Parisians. And as I said, I did a bit of a ranty video earlier because I was sick and tired of seeing these absolute frauds of PSG fans laugh at us, rule us out, the arrogance, and I'm sure some of you have come across quite a few of them so far, how certain they are that they are going to be beating Aston Villa. And I'm thinking, you're forgetting quite a few factors here. And as I called them, I'm not having PSG talk down to us when they can't even say they're champions of Europe. Yeah, they've won the Cup Winners' Cup in 1996. But they've not won big ears. They've not won the main trophy. They've not lifted that European Cup above their head and gone, hey, where's our picture on our Wall of Fame like we do? Yeah, 1982. So do not talk down to me, PSG fans. Do not try and get in the same conversation with me until you lift that trophy. So put some respect on Aston Villa first and foremost. But second of all, what they are forgetting is that we have Unai Emery. And that Unai Emery is a manager that PSG are all too familiar with. But it's not just the Unai Emery PSG link, but it's Unai Emery and Luis Enrique. And I'm going to explain that story a little more further because he is going to be seeking revenge and revenge for sure. So, number one, what I find quite fascinating is Unai Emery has the highest win percentage of any all-time PSG manager. Let that sink in. Unai Emery has the highest win percentage of any PSG manager, and yet they absolutely hound Unai Emery. They absolutely are disgusting to Unai Emery. They still hold him, the ultras, at ransom for that massive loss at the Nou Camp against Barcelona, where they essentially blew the Champions League, and Neymar had an absolute head loss. But what they also are forgetting is how good Unai Emery is in European knockout ties. Because if it wasn't for that fraudulent PSG club, Unai Emery has an immaculate knockout tie percentage. So if you want to start believing, have a look at this. Have a look at this. This got me very excited when I found this. Have a look at this, chat. If this doesn't excite you, I don't know what will. Okay. Unai Emery. Champions League 10 plus ties, best win percentage knockout ties. Zinedine Zidane has had 16 ties, by the way, and has a win percentage of 87.5. But look at Unai Emery. Look at Unai Emery. 82.1% win percentage in knockout ties in the Champions League. Now, can you start believing in my guy, in my manager? Because I know we all do. And this is where I'm calling out sort of neutral fans, rival fans, PSG fans. You really want to bet against this guy? An 82.1% win rate in knockout ties. You want to bet against him? You must be crazy. You must be crazy. This guy's a specialist. He's only he's only played 5 games less than Pep Guardiola and has a 12% more increase than Pep. We're talking about Pep, who, by the way, had one of the best Barcelona all-time teams. So, first of all, big up to all of you guys in the chat. Smash that like button. Big up to Black Country Villain as well. Big up to James from 1982. Spice said PSG need to teach a lesson in that case. They absolutely do. Big up to Fraser as well. I'm sure he's going to be cheering on Villa, considering Liverpool were knocked out by PSG. LB998, what the hell has Unai ever done in the Champions League? Well, I can tell you that. Just have a look at that stat there. Second highest knockout tie win percentage. He's taken a Villarreal team who won the Europa League in 2021 and got a Villarreal side to the semi-finals of a Champions League with a seriously depleted, under-budget squad. Unai Emery has worked miracles in the Champions League, but people want to hold Unai Emery ransom for his PSG tenure. And it pisses me off. It winds me up. It winds me up. All people want to hold on to Unai Emery is he lost 6-1, the heaviest knockout tie defeat. What people are also forgetting is Unai Emery won 4-0 in Paris. Unai Emery put 4 goals past Barcelona at home in Paris. Light work, easy work. Mate, stats are showing. Where are the UCL trophies? All I can say to you is he's got 3 Europa League trophies. I don't want to hear, but it's not the Champions League. My man hasn't managed enough in the Champions League. My man has won 3 European trophies. Don't care if it's Europa League. It's the same it's the same structure. It's the same sort of winning mentality. It's the same as managing 2 legs to get to a final and win it in one big game. Unai Emery knows how to win trophies. I do not care if what anyone says that isn't the Champions League. I knew that would be the comment. I knew that would be the comment and response. We'll let him have a chance of winning the Champions League with Aston Villa and let's see what happens. Because if he does, everyone needs to eat humble pie when it comes to Unai Emery. I'm telling you, this stat tells me everything I need to know about Unai Emery and his caliber as a manager. Okay, so if you want to get excited for tomorrow, let this one sink in. 82.1% win knockout percentage. Above a lot of great managers. I'm telling you, look at the echelons of Ancelotti and Pep Guardiola. You know, Zidane's only above him because of the smaller amount of games. 39 games. He absolutely pisses on Pep Guardiola. So when anyone ever asks me, you know, why am I confident of beating? Why am I confident in beating PSG? Because of my manager. It's nothing like, it's way less quality. Okay, so let me ask you this then, LB1998. Who's winning the Europa League this season? Who's winning the Europa League this season? Because it certainly ain't Manchester United or Spurs. It certainly ain't Manchester United or Spurs. If one of those go on to win it, we'll see. But trust me, it ain't going to be one of those 2. PSG have had the weekend off because Villa are that easy to beat. Exactly. They asked for the weekend off. They asked for the French league to rearrange it. So let's see it. So there we go. And where are Bilbao? Where are they in their league? But yeah, Michael saying 3 Europas rather than 1 Champions League. It's consistent to be able to perform consistently at a level. So are we saying then to put that theory in place? What are we saying? Roberto Di Matteo is a better manager than Unai Emery? because Roberto Di Matteo has won 1 Champions League with Chelsea. Is that what we're saying? Oh, because he's got a Champions League trophy. Roberto Di Matteo is better than Unai Emery. Is that really what we're saying? Because anyone with a brain cell will turn around and say, of course he's not a better manager than Unai Emery. Of course he's not a better manager. Big up to Marzi, hope you're well. Big up to Lee Collison as well in the house. I'm serious. Because if anyone turns around and tells me that Roberto Di Matteo is a better manager than Unai Emery because he's won a Champions League and Unai hasn't, he's a head checking. That's crazy. So yeah, that stat was like, yeah, here we go then. Let's have it. And we want to go forwards with this against PSG. So I'm looking now at the next thing, the Luis Enrique battle. I did not know the depths of where Luis Enrique and Unai Emery went to. But this has got a good little history and a good little backing on this as well. So let me just talk to you about a few things. So another article I found before I go on to that is about Unai Emery's sort of record. By the way, that PSG team, there's a really good article. I'm tempted to copy and paste it if you really want to read about Unai Emery and his, basically his European knockout record and why it gives him an edge. Really good article. And that PSG side, by the way, that lost to Barcelona was the youngest in the competition. Villa have a much more experienced squad, and he learned from his lessons. But there we go. Right, have a read of this. I'm going to enlarge it so you can all see it. It's all to do with the manager. If anyone doesn't think that this game, these European games, are all about the manager tactically setting up right, then it's, again, yes, the players have to deliver, but it's all about team selection. It's all about the right manager. Right, have a look at this. Let me just get rid of that. Damn it. Right, have a look at this. Okay. Big up to PC in the house. Game management, so guess where that comes from? Exactly. You guys know it. The real ones know it in the chat. So he came close to further Europa League success with Arsenal, beaten in the 2019 final by Chelsea. But he didn't command a great deal of respect during his time in London. However, Villarreal's march to Europa League glory in 2021, followed by them making the Champions League semis a year later, reminded the world of his expertise levels. Pause for a second, because that's exactly what I think this Villa running campaign is going to do. This is what I think managing Aston Villa on the Champions League scale will do. It will remind the rest of Europe how good Unai Emery is because of what he did with Villarreal. Like that Barcelona came back, it can take something special to beat Emery in a knockout tie. The only 4 teams to ever beat him in a Europa or Champions League knockout tie are Barcelona, Real Madrid, both while with PSG, Liverpool with Villarreal, and Chelsea with Arsenal. So Unai Emery lost to Chelsea in the Europa League final. He lost to Liverpool in the Champions League semi-finals. And then he lost to Barcelona and Real Madrid. Well, if you just take the Chelsea game aside, Barcelona, Real Madrid, and Liverpool are the only teams that Unai Emery has lost to. Let that stat sink in for a second, people. Let that stat sink in for a second. The only teams that Unai Emery has lost to are Barcelona, Real Madrid, Liverpool, and Chelsea in a Europa League or Champions League knockout stage. Who are we playing? Are we playing Barcelona or Real Madrid in the quarterfinals? Are we playing Liverpool or Chelsea? No. So, genuinely right now, am I worried about that? No. I'm all about superstition. I'm all about my manager putting things right. I'm all about believing in Unai Emery. I feel there's these stats sometimes in life that breed confidence in a player, that breed confidence in the manager. To have that statistic, and people really deep that for me, he's only ever lost to Barca, Real Madrid, Liverpool, or Chelsea in his whole career in knockout European football. That's incredible. So I'm trying to build the Villa fans' confidence here, and I'm also trying to build, the respect. He's got the second highest win percentage in knockout Champions League behind Zinedine Zidane. He has only ever lost to Barcelona, Real Madrid, Liverpool, and Chelsea across both European competitions knockouts. Let's read on. And by the way, big up to everyone in the chat. Make sure you're smashing the like button, the likes of PC and Olympiacos. Yes, this had Olympiacos PC. You're right. I don't think they count the Conference League, to be fair. But yeah, big up to Vamos VJ as well. God, that Olympiacos tie still scars me. Okay, so let's read on here. Let's read on here because it gets better. It gets better. And if you can't read this, like Lee Collison said, I apologise. I will try my best to sort of break it down because it is an interesting article. Meanwhile, he has produced some incredible results too, seeing off Arsenal, Juventus, and Bayern Munich with Villarreal and Liverpool, Porto and Benfica with Sevilla. Aston Villa's 1-0 win over Bayern in the season's league phase suggests Emery still knows what it takes to win high-stakes European matches. And they're also mightily impressive in seeing off a decent Club Brugge side without issue in the last 16. Yeah, the Club Brugge side, remember people were actually favouriting them as well. Here we go then. There will be some who question how much Emery has achieved in the Champions League, given he failed in his only 2 knockout ties with PSG. And in one case, failed feels like it could be a bit of an understatement. That's the Unai Emery issue right there. Too many people still hold recency bias on Unai Emery in Champions League on basically just his PSG outing. They don't want to talk about his Villarreal outing. They don't want to talk about what he's done with Sevilla. They only want to talk about that PSG affair. Crazy, right? And I hope so, Weston. I think the players will be up for it. Debut lives in the French heads. Peter Collins, not just PSG. Exactly, Marzi. Exactly, rent-free. And he is well up for it. But there we go. So, let's have a look at this then. And by the way, big up to everyone, as I said. Really appreciate all your support out here. This is a fascinating article. But after being knocked out of his first 3 Champions League knockout ties, he has progressed from 3 of his last 4. Villa will hope he has learned from his early mistakes in the competition. Again, everything I always say about Unai Emery, you never see Unai Emery make the same mistake twice. Hence why when we play Crystal Palace in the FA Cup, I know he won't make the same mistake that he did earlier in the season. I know that for a fact. If he takes Villa past his hugely impressive PSG side, it might just become his biggest achievement in the competition. In truth, it would only overtake his 4-0 win over a legendary Barcelona side because of what came after. But that Colossus second leg collapse did happen, and Emery could do with a statement to win to silence the doubters yet again. This sounds like, again, something that Unai Emery will be 100% all up for, which is silencing the doubters, silencing people, silencing those who have already written him off, okay? Because it says this, in his first meeting with Luis Enrique since that remarkable day in 2017, Emery will be desperate to exact some form of revenge. There's certainly reason to believe he will. And hence the title of this stream today. Unai Emery is seeking revenge on PSG because they fraudulently let him down in the competition. But he's also seeking revenge on a certain Mr. Luis Enrique. And that is important to me, that he wants to seek revenge on the manager who has basically tarnished his reputation in the competition. People, I've done it again. I need to go turn the oven down. I've just set an alarm. I've got jacket potatoes in the oven. We're having jacket potato, cheese and beans. I need to quickly, literally turn the dial down to 180. I'll be back. Time it. I'll be 15 seconds, no less. Watch this. 1 second. I'm back. There you go. I'm back. We saved the jacket potatoes. So let's be real here. The 6-1 Luis Enrique show. Damn. Luis Enrique. The last time they met was 2017. And that 6-1 lives rent-free in Unai Emery's head. You're telling me my manager Mr. Count Dracula isn't going to suck the blood out of Luis Enrique. Trust me. No way is he letting Luis Enrique do this again to him. No way. And so this is why it's perfect. We found the perfect club and the perfect manager and Enrique and PSG to combine for Unai Emery to do his revenge tour, to do what he wants to seek out to do. Absolutely put Villa on the European map and just nod his hat to PSG and said, I haven't lost it. And also to say to Luis Enrique, don't you dare do that to me again. Because that 6-1 was just incredible. 4-0 at home. 4-0 at home. PSG 4-0 at home. And you think, damn. How did that happen? Well, listen, let's just go to the actual game itself, because it does worry me sometimes at the way in which it all happened. And here is the collapse. Here is the collapse. Don't know how well you can see this graph, but I'm going to try and talk you through it. So, look, basically, Luis Suarez scored within 3 minutes to make the tie 4-1. So let's talk about aggregate score. It then was an own goal in 40 minutes to make it 4-2. So you think going in at half-time, 4-2 down, you're going to be okay. You're going to be okay. Still a lot of football to go. Surely you're going to score. It's going to be all right. Then Messi pops up and makes it 4-3 and it's squeaky bum time. But Edison Cavani, right, scores to almost go, look, it's 5-3, relax. 30 minutes to go. Surely we don't. But the scary thing is, it was Neymar, and Sergio Roberto. But the biggest thing that probably worries me is if you look at the second half, and we saw it against Nottingham Forest, right? Unai Emery inviting pressure on in that second half is a little bit of a killer. Look at the XG. So if you remember that game, let me know. Big up Aston Villa fan. Hi, new to the stream, but up the Villa. Big up to you, my friend. Welcome in. Let me know if you actually remember that game where they played Barcelona. But my worrying thing is, has Unai Emery learnt from that? Because if you look at the first half, the XG is absolutely in control. It's a low first half. It's a very controlled Unai Emery first half that not too much happens. But I don't want to see a repeat of that. But the one bit of credit I will give Unai Emery for, as I said in that article, is PSG had what I would say one of the youngest squads as well. And it says here, and I'll show you that now on the article, because you want to really divulge into it. It says his PSG, the youngest team remain that season Champions League with an average age of their starting 11 of 24 years, are vibrant, exciting, and bursting with talent. They look like real contenders this time around, and Luis Enrique, having won the Champions League with Barca in 2014-15, has previous in this competition. There's hope he can end PSG's wait for European glory. So, the other thing, though, and this was the key bit, Luis Enrique had won 8 out of their 10 meetings, where it's now 9 out of 11. However, only 2 of those meetings came in a 2-legged knockout European tie, with the managers winning 1 match apiece, and what a tie it was. So, look, basically, for a long time, Luis Enrique has had Unai Emery's number. And for a long time, he's got the better over Unai. But I cannot take away the fact that 4-0 win in Paris is something that gives me massive hope. But it also gives me massive hope that I think this Villa squad is a lot older, a lot more mature. And personally, for me, I think that there is more pressure now on Luis Enrique. If you want to flip the narrative, PSG are favourites. Luis Enrique has to deliver. Luis Enrique is expected to beat Unai Emery. And there'll be a lot of people going, Luis Enrique. Yeah, you know Unai Emery inside out. You know how to beat him because, look, you've won 9 out of 11 games against him. You should know how to do that. There's pressure on that. So I have stats that are in favour of Unai Emery. As I said, an 80% win record in knockout ties. He's only ever lost to Olympiacos, Barca, Real Madrid, Liverpool, Chelsea across Europa League, Conference League, Champions League, and knockout ties. He's won his last 3 out of 4 knockout Champions League games. And he bloody owes one to Luis Enrique. But there's always a but. Villa's form in France. I'm not sure if anyone's aware of this one. Are you ready for this one, chat? Villa have never won a European game in France. We've drawn 3, lost 2. And our 2 most recent losses have come to Lille last season and Monaco in this season's Champions League. We have a really poor record in France. So again, we talk about Unai Emery breaking records or improving situations or making light of a better scenario. Well, let's really hold that one. We basically take L's in France. So there's no wonder that the likes of Emi Martinez is up for this. There's no wonder that Unai Emery knows that going to France is a massive sort of chance to change history. Why can't we have the first Villa squad to ever win in France? Why can't we beat the Parisians on their own doorstep? We saw Liverpool do it. So what is everyone's thoughts, feelings building up to this without seeing any of the lineups, with seeing these Unai Emery statistics? Do you believe like I do? Do you actually believe that Unai Emery could pull off something really special in Paris? Do you believe that maybe this PSG team is a little bit overhyped? There's a lot of talk of their midfield. There's a lot of talk of this wonderful PSG side and how good they are and how scary they are. Well, listen, I think it was Total Villain actually tweeted a possible PSG team, which I'll put out. Okay. Now, I'm not a big PSG watcher. I haven't done for a long time. But look, should we be scared of this team? That's all I'm going to ask you. Should we be scared of this team? Should it be a team that we actually fear? But DB bent those little fans' heads into horseshoes. Exactly. Now we need him to do it on the pitch as well. PC. Now we need him to do it on the pitch as well. So, Donnarumma in goal, we obviously know. Hakimi, Pacho, Bernardo, and Nuno Mendes, attacking fullbacks who will get high but will leave space in behind, something I know Villa can exploit. Definitely got to get in behind the fullbacks, especially if they invert. Midfield. Now, this is where everyone's going crazy. Apparently, this midfield's amazing for PSG. João Neves, Fabian Ruiz, and Vitinha. I'm not going to lie to you. That midfield doesn't scare me. Respect but no fear. We belong in this tie. Exactly that, PC. That midfield doesn't scare me. Midfield does not scare me. It's nothing too crazy. It's nothing too overpowering. It's nothing that Boubacar Kamara, Yuri Tillemans, and whoever else plays in there can't handle. And then the forward line is Doué, who is obviously a French youngster. Now, I'll be honest, this guy is electric, but he's very erratic. He's very erratic, but he's electric. Ousmane Dembele's had the season of his life. Hopefully, he has a stinker against the Villa. Maybe he's Emi Martinez is rent-free in his head from the French international setup. And then Kvaratskhelia, of course, we know his quality and talent. It's a front three that is quick, it's as pacey and as electric. But how good are they at finishing? How good are they at finishing? That's the question I'm going to hold there. What is their level of finishing like? We saw Hudson-Odoi and Elanga at the weekend, poor level of finishing. So if we were to do our best 11, I don't think it looks too out of place against that PSG side. In fact, I think it probably matches it quite easily. I don't think they're a different class above us. So there's no player there I go, oh my God, we must double up on them. I just think we need to win our one-on-one duels. We need to win the second balls. We need to have high-octane energy. We need to play well in those short bursts. And the biggest one for me, to state the obvious, is we need to take our chances. I swear we have to take our chances. We have to have a real clinical edge about us. A real clinical edge about us tomorrow. So, yeah, I don't want to do a predicted lineup because I have no idea. I've got a feeling we may see Asensio on the bench, though. I think he'll go for the strong ball carriers and runners. So if you want to think about what Unai Emery probably will go more for, I think he'll go for the Rodgers, the Jacob Ramseys, the Rashfords, and maybe the Watkins of this world. If Leon Bailey's fit, it could be more of a Ramsey, Rodgers, Bailey situation. But I think he'll go for the runners. I think Asensio will find himself on the bench, but will start at Villa Park. I think Rashford's hit and go, whether he plays Watkins or Rashford. He'll obviously go Kamara. The one surprise player that could come in is Onana, maybe, for Tillemans. But I think we need Yuri's quality because they're saying about runners and powerhouses. And I probably would say, unfortunately, I think we're going to see that Disasi, Konsa, Pau Torres, Luca Dean back four as well. Nothing scares you. No, that PSG doesn't scare me. Why should I be scared of that PSG side? I don't understand. I don't understand what I'm missing. But there we go. But look, big up to everyone. That's our little preview of today. As I said, we've got Villa must sell to comply for PSR. Doesn't matter if we qualify for Champions League. We've been told we must sell. It's a shitter. And Unai Emery revenge tour is about to begin tomorrow night, where we go and play PSG on their own patch. Luis Enrique, the manager who has his number, mentally damaged probably Unai Emery, but also killed Unai Emery's reputation in Champions League because of that 6-1 defeat. It's time to get revenge. It's time to absolutely suck the life out of these guys. And I'm ready for it. I'm hyped for it, as you can tell. Hopefully you can tell I'm ready for this one. We, of course, will be doing the watch-along for this one on Big Up. Not sure on YouTube yet, but definitely 100% Big Up. So please make sure you're ready for the watch-along tomorrow. And if you haven't already, go check out the video from earlier on the channel that I did earlier today. So they should be paying Emmy for the privilege of having him in their heads. He's a busy guy. He's got all his reveals. Yeah, he has a lot of people for his head, probably the referees as well. But yeah, big up to Vamos on the 30 likes. So yeah, the watch along vibes will be there tomorrow, people. And I'm ready for it. And I hope you guys are as well. But yeah, I'm excited. It's time to tune into Arsenal Real Madrid as well. Quick thoughts on that one. Nothing but Real Madrid. I don't know how people are backing Arsenal to win tonight. You do realise Real Madrid are cleaning up Arsenal tonight. I don't know why so many people are thinking Arsenal could get something. Not a chance. Not a chance at Arsenal winning tonight. I don't know. If anyone else is anyone else feeling Arsenal, or is it just me being cynical? But there we go. I'm feeling Real Madrid. But big up to Vamos VJ, big up to PC, to Mark, to Marzi, to Lee, to Aston Villa fan, to Spicy Pricey, to everyone who's been commenting as well. The likes of Weston, Vamos, the VJ, Michael Dimmock, all of you lot who've been in the chat. Big up to Del Boy as well. He's just coming. We're just finishing up now, Del Boy, but good to have you in here. And as always, it's a big, big day tomorrow. You need to be on this channel. You need to be locked into the watch along, whether it's going to be on here or Big Up. Definitely Big Up, but whether we go on here as well, just come and join me. Bucket in. Enjoy the ride. Villa in the Champions League. And we're going to go do something special. People, I'm out of here. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Much love. Big up to my mum and dad as well. And everyone else who's been listening. I'm out of here. Ta